Before I begin my review of What Remains of Edith Finch, I would just like to point out something. I won't be using any gameplay footage of the game. It is a game where I think you should be experiencing on your own. It is not a very long game, and I feel that any small little thing can be considered a spoiler. So both the video and what I say won't be spoiling anything. Okay, so I'm having a little dilemma with reviewing What Remains of Edith Finch. I don't know what to say about this game. It's a first-person walking simulator in a nutshell. You play Edith Finch and you're the last remaining member of the Finch family, and you learn about each member of the family by going through an enormous abandoned house. It tries to do what most if not all first-person narrative heavy games tries to do, hook you with an emotional story and great writing. In my opinion, it does the latter. Not too sure about the former though. I already knew going in that it was going to be a good game. From the comments that I've read before playing, it was supposed to be this really well written collection of stories within a story that will tug at your heartstrings. I wasn't sure if I constantly reminded myself of all those comments I read when playing this game, and that if I didn't somehow like it or feel emotional, that I'm sort of like the weird one out. I could talk about the surface level things that I liked. The design of the house was great. Each room tells a lot about the former occupant, even before interacting with the story object. The house is just really gorgeous. Each room has its own personality, lots of secret corridor-like machinations as well, even a cool tower which has more rooms, hanging walkways connecting all of them. It was truly a very enchanting place. It is one of my favorite places in any game. Of course, I have to finish this section off by saying the old cliche that the setting was its own character. Games like these are polarizing. The stories weren't relatable to me. I'm sure it would be to a lot of people though. I felt the length was just right, around 2 hours. But some people might think it was too short because it is a $20 game. Near the end of Edith Finch, did I feel emotional? Yes, I certainly did. Problem is, I don't know why. I don't know if the game merited an emotional response or an emotional connection from me. What was it that the game did to get me to feel that way? I couldn't see what made it an emotional experience for others, and yet I felt that emotional thing. Each family member story wasn't very long, so I don't think there was time for me to feel emotionally invested. Like I mentioned previously, I didn't relate to the story while the writing was really good, and I really enjoyed exploring the house and learning about these characters. I didn't feel like there was much of an emotional hook to begin with. With that said, What Remains of Edith Finch does some interesting things with the narrative and storytelling, and it is again set in one of my favorite locations in any game ever. The house is just really enchanting and charming, kinda scary at times as well because you're alone. There are a lot of things most players can appreciate from Edith Finch, but not all will get to relate with it on an emotional level. I also won't be giving it a score because I think it would be unfair for me to do so. It's safe to say that What Remains of Edith Finch will be a vastly different experience for a lot of people, and while that is true for most games, I feel Edith Finch does that on a higher level. So this is one of those games where you really have to experience it for yourself and you have to come up with your own conclusions.